conducting of the actual elicitation tasks and activity, what does it entail? So obviously we had the plan that we created initially, so that would be the input for this. And then in terms of the guidelines and what kind of tools and the tasks that we do here, we've got the business analysis approach. Again, that would outline which methodologies and which techniques that could be potentially used. And then obviously the as-is situation, the current state of affairs, the current state of the situation, whether it could be a business scenario or the process, current process or current product that we are already using. It gives you insights into that. And then perhaps also, and then you also have the stakeholder engagement approach as well, isn't it? So you also need to identify what kind of ways that you're going to deploy so that you can try and engage and communicate with the stakeholders. Again, this came from the first knowledge area. And if you've got any supporting material, I think I mentioned that to you in the last couple of slides. We were talking about the personas. We're talking about what kind of information that we already have about their roles, their responsibilities, their background, their education background. Perhaps having a look at their LinkedIn profile, for example, nowadays is helpful, isn't it? It's handy to just understand before your meeting with the interviewer or before your workshop. Just have a look at their LinkedIn profiles. You understand what is their kind of background, what is the current role, what kind of, sometimes they also put in responsibilities and areas that they look for their professional interests and things like that. So you can actually connect to and relate to in a better way. Sometimes when we go to these client meetings, for example, it's like this person's person here, where we don't even know, or we won't have met this person before. We don't know whether, sometimes you don't even know whether that person is a male or a female. I'm not trying to I'm ridicule, but this is the case. I had a situation where I was expecting a person to be her. It turns out it is actually a him. It's a Greek name. It's a Greek name, and I can take the name as well. It's Martha. So like Martha is actually supposed to be a lady's name, but turns out to be a man. But this is like it happened.
That's an interesting Greek.
Yeah. And then you don't even know how they look or whether they're. And then once you complete that, you would then be able to confirm the results. And this is what I was hinting at you, that I had to go through all those notes of tons and tons of pages of the writing of this person, and I had to get the scanned copies and then look at those and take the derive the insights from using a mind map, do an affinity analysis, and you can then come up with some kind of draft results or outcome from the analysis. So when you talk about the elicitation, there are different ways of elicitation. As I said, one is where you're actually having a dialogue with, and that's where interviews are typically helpful, where you're asking them questions and they're telling you. But even in interviews, there's a way to actually conduct an interview. I was trained in that interview conducting as well from the user experience point of view. So you don't go there, tell me what you want. Basically, what you're going to ask is basically something like, for example, what kind of tools have you been using in the last 5 days? How would you go about doing your work in a typical day? So what are the kind of applications? Can you walk me through the steps in terms of what you did yesterday? And then they will go about, I started my day, I came to the office, blah, blah, blah. I opened the mail, looked at it. Then I got a call from this boss, went there, checked it, and then came back. Then there was a call from the supplier. I opened the vendor management application. Oh, vendor management application, what is that? It's a third-party one. Okay, so what do you do with that? So you open an application, I can look at the vendor list, the preferred vendor list. I can add a vendor to that list, blah, blah, blah. So they go talk about, so here you're actually talking about the experience aspect of it as to the performance of the tasks rather than their preferences. So it's always important when you do the elicitation, whatever it be, that you separate the views and the preferences and the likes and the wishes to the tasks, the experiences, the needs, and the problems that they encountered during these experiential aspects. So these are two separate things. While it is okay to people do talk about what they like to do, what they wish, what they want to be, what they want to do. That's all good. But your elicitation should be hinging more on the aspects of what they do, what their needs are, not what they wish to be. but what they're currently doing, what are the kind of problems they're facing, what are the kind of workarounds, what are the breakdown scenarios. These are the things that you would need to focus on.